You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
83 and 86 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 52 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into a hump day edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904 is the number if you'd like to jump in on the show with us this morning. No guest the first hour, so we'll have Bill Cameron in the second hour. So love to have your phone calls. 205, as I said, 205-342-9904. Download that app, the Tide 100.9 app, to your smartphone. And you could take us with you anywhere you go. Coach has got his show tonight. I know we got a lot of people that are listening outside the area, which they are. They probably already have the app, but tell 2 or 3 friends about the app, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. This hour is brought to you by Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern Wood. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you certainly don't want it. If you want to build something that'll last, Yellowwood is your only choice. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you. If you want to email us, the email for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Good morning, Chase. Good morning, Dad. How are you guys this morning?
We're doing okay. Last night, Sam Houston played Florida International and won 10-7. Not a very good game. Neither games were very exciting last night, if you like exciting football, I guess. Louisiana Tech 14, University of Texas El Paso 10. And then tonight on CBS SSN at 6 o'clock, you could see Liberty, a team that's 5-0, play Kennesaw State, a team that's 0-6, 25-point favorite there. And Middle Tennessee and Jack State will play at 6:30. If you enjoy watching a home state school, a lot of you, on ESPN2. Middle is 2-5, and Jack State is 3-3. So as we head out towards the weekend, we have a lot of players with injuries. Ohio State's lost a Simmons kid with a knee. Broken finger, or broken thumb, I think, by the quarterback at Indiana, which is very, very hurtful for them. They're doing so well. Georgia Tech, not sure about that they're going to do quarterback-wise. Troy lost their quarterback for the season, which is, of course, not good. And LeBron and Brony played together last night. I didn't get to watch the game, but they played together last night in basketball. Let's see, as far as getting the schedules worked out for the future, the president of Texas and the SEC commissioner are meeting to talk about, I think, a Big Ten SEC rivalry or rivals, and also the schedule for the future, seeing that football has gone down to those two leagues more than any place else. So we'll see what happens there. The lines, and I can be a half off because I took this from one place that the lines were, and it could be wrong, but just basically for you people who are liking to know what's going on, Ole Miss is a 20-point favorite over Oklahoma. You got Oklahoma 20. They're going to start Jackson Arnold, and he's the kid that started the first 4 games for a quarterback for Oklahoma. And the Hawkins kid who had a win against Auburn, he was the only time he played. I think he had one win against Auburn. They're going to move him out right now and see, because they had such a bad offensive performance last time. So that's that. Mississippi State, Arkansas, 6.5. Alabama's now 13.5-point favorite over Missouri. Vanderbilt is gone from 17.5 all the way to 19. What I saw, it could be a 5-point difference. Barry may have it different. So Vanderbilt in Texas will play there. First time that Texas has been there since way before I was born. A&M, 2.5-point favorite, I think, over LSU, and Kentucky at 2.5 favorite over Auburn at Kentucky. Hard to tell about those games. They go either way. And the only other game that I'm trying to study these things. It's coming up for Blue Play tomorrow. It's not easy. I hadn't found one yet, but Miami and Florida State coach has already said he made some mistakes, having a hard time getting his team to play. They're 21-point favorite over Florida State. So those are about the things that happen. Everybody's waiting for homecoming at Alabama. Then they had an off week. We'll have hopefully a lot of guests next week that can talk. And then if they're fortunate enough to beat Missouri, if they are, and I think that would be an if, then they would have to go into Baton Rouge and beat an LSU team who's good enough to beat you if you don't play, especially playing at home. So they've got a decent schedule ahead of them as far as having a chance to get in the finals 12. Say whatever you wish about the way it is. So we'll have Bill on today, and I'll try to get us another guest, so we'll have two on tomorrow. I just hadn't had a chance to find one. Okay, that's it.
All right. A lot of players talking yesterday from Alabama, talking about having Milrose back. They got his back. C.J. Dupree talks about that. Jeremy Bernard says, hey, we got to do better. We got to catch, and what you would expect. I mean, these players are close to one another. They spend a lot of time together, and I'm sure they feel for him when he's not playing well. I hear people keep saying, well, now everybody's coming out, and they weren't saying anything after the Georgia. Well, guys, you're not going to say anything when the guy's playing well, but when you're not playing well, people will. That's part of it. That comes with the territory of being the quarterback for probably the most tradition-rich program in the country. So there's going to be some criticism that comes with it. The people that weren't saying anything when he was playing well, there wasn't nothing to say. But I talked about Mel Kiper saying he was the Heisman Trophy candidate. Well, now he's not saying anything. So he's got to work through this together, block out all the outside noise, bond together. C.J. Dupree, I can't find that. Chase, I don't know if you can find that. He did say, which was a little bit alarming, I don't know, we're getting back to putting our shirt tails in and not being late, which if they've been being late, that's a problem. So that speaks to discipline there. And so I don't know if he meant I don't know what he meant there. Maybe they hadn't had those problems early, and guys have been showing up a little bit late for things. There are just some little details there that maybe when you start losing rear their head. But losing can splinter a team. Guys think they should be playing. Guys aren't getting the ball. The criticism that comes, people try to splinter, and so that's very important during those times to have great leadership and try to at least pull these guys together in the locker room and try to start working as one. And that's a little bit more difficult when you're not having success.
Well, I think it is. I think you're playing a team that nobody knows a lot about. They're up and down. They're enthusiastic. Coach does a good job with them. Missouri was really good defensively last year. Lost the guy to LSU. If you want to pick somebody that maybe is not quite as good as you thought they might be, Missouri might fit into that category. As you look at the league this year, folks, it's so balanced that you want to find a disappointing team. You could find a bunch of them. If you want to call it disappointing, I would say probably a team that's done a little better than I thought. Maybe with South Carolina, they played a little bit better, and they're hanging in there pretty well. So we've got a league of the Oklahomas and the Ole Misses that start the season at 11 o'clock. Disappointment there. Disappointment at Arkansas and State. Disappointment Alabama, disappointment. Texas gets beat by Georgia, disappointment there. A little bit ups for Vanderbilt, certainly. Should have said that. LSU and A&M, just kind of quiet. A&M probably a plus. They are a plus. And LSU close to it. And Auburn and Kentucky, both of them disappointed. So if you try to pick out a game that you think is a bearing game, I would say probably LSU and A&M. The game will be at 6:30 on ABC and ESPN Plus.
Yeah, you got a lot of fan bases, a lot of emotion. Georgia's fan base was crushed after the Alabama win, but they're sky high now. Auburn, their fan base is in the gutter, and obviously they're not going to fire Hugh Freeze, but if they were to not win a game in the conference, I think the heat would really turn up for next season. And, the fact that he's had a great recruiting class, hopefully that's a situation where for them, maybe that the NIL was so good that it will allow them to hold on to the class, because it had to be something that they took. I know playing time is big there, and they went after a lot of the in-state kids, but hopefully the NIL will hold them. They can't lose this season and lose this class. Just your thoughts about what you see going on down there at Auburn. He got to hold on to this recruiting class to give them hope for next year.
I agree. I think you've got to hold on to it, and you've got to have your assistant coaches being darn sure that they're in contact with every player that they recruited for the school, so that they can get a feel for it. The problem that you have is that simply people get rumors that somebody, because this team is bad, they get rumors that the guy's going to leave. And when they get those kinds of rumors, they get it to the uncle and tell the uncle, what's the guy making that down there? And then they add something to it. And sometimes they're able to steal somebody. All this transfer crap, not playing for money. Well, it started way back with the bowls. And back in the bowl days, where they started saying, we're going to play unless they got some money and those kind of things. And it's escalated all the way to this. So, hard. It's as Barry's mentioned, it's hard to keep your team together. But you've got to be darn sure that your general manager, and I think general manager is a good term for people who have one. Alabama has one. That the general manager works with the assistant coaches to be darn sure that what you've got, you keep. And that is easy for me to say and very difficult for you to comprehend. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're talking about, the NCAA is doing away with the NLI, so I guess you're just going to sign the grant and aid, and you I wish they could just put the money that you're going to get in there your first year or two, and then that way you kind of know what you're signing, and you're signing something committing you to that school. That would help these coaches a little bit. But that's, I don't know how I don't know what you're signing now if you're not signing NLI. I guess it's like I said, a grant and aid is saying what your scholarship's worth. But now these guys can pay with this revenue sharing. All that stuff needs to be worked out. And so as we go through it will affect recruiting a lot here. All right, we'll take the first break. Open up the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Hey, coaches, tonight there's something happening there tonight that I'm not that comfortable with, and I want to find out if that is as well. I'll tell you what that is when we get back from break and see if you guys are comfortable with it. I'm not. 2 Minute Truck, they're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. It's local, out of town, out of state. Let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. Give them a call today, 205-247-5050. It's 2 Minute Truck. Movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. A post by the city of Jasper on their Facebook site has announced the death of Mayor David O'Meary. That post says the family informed city council, department managers, and city employees that O'Meary passed late yesterday afternoon. O'Mary was elected mayor in September 2016. He was unopposed for re-election in 2020, and he was 72 years old. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Still a quiet ride on the roadways. Ideal travels for you if you're moving, well, pretty much everywhere. So 2059 eastbound between Joe Malisham and McFarland Boulevard. You do have the construction zone, but you do not have the trouble spot or the delays. And then we've got
at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
This weekend, Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown.
Tide 100.9. For more coverage of Alabama football, visit us at Tide100.9.com or download the free Tide 100.9 app.
The Crimson Tide will not be denied.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then you certainly don't want it. The lines are open, 205-342-9904. Now, I understand I'm old and I'm old school, Chase, so you can help me if I'm wrong. And, Dad, I don't know if you're thinking along. Tonight, they're having Hey Coach, and they do it every year. I mean, every week, obviously, during football season. And Coach decided to do his on Wednesday. They do it at Baumhower. They always bring a player. You know, it used to be back in the day, and I don't even remember what your philosophy was on this or what your rule was, that freshmen sometimes never even got a chance to talk to the media. You just wanted them to be able to handle their classes, get their feet on the ground, and you didn't want to put any more responsibility on them with media, so you didn't allow them to do any media. Some people didn't. Some people probably did. I can't remember. You can tell me whether you did or you didn't. I can't remember. So tonight, Coach always brings a player, and he's bringing Ryan Williams. Now, I think that's a mistake. I think this kid's gotten enough publicity. They throw the ball to him every freaking time. There's probably some jealousy there. There's probably some, and I, from my understanding, he's a great kid, so I'm not saying that. I just think we're maybe putting too much on his plate here, his freshman year. There's other kids over there. There's kids that maybe aren't playing as much, but are great stories, and an academic guy that's done something great there that's been here for a while. And I think it would be better to bring a guy like that over there. That's just my opinion. If you guys have a different opinion of that, 205-342-9904. But I think there's probably some jealousy with this kid. He's probably getting pretty good NIL money, probably going to get a lot more next year. They throw the ball to him every single time. He's got his own podcast. He's just doing a lot. Am I wrong about that?
No, I don't think you are. I think the best way to handle it would be to bring two. I would bring the second receiver as well. I would make it feel like if there were two receivers there at the radio show, and both these receivers are visiting with the head coach and with the people. I wouldn't bring one by itself. If I have somebody that sticks out the way he does, there are other people the point of them sort of giving up as far as running their routes are concerned, because they're not getting the football that much. The funny part about it is that Ryan is the one who's getting double teamed. He's getting double teamed more than anybody on Alabama's team. These guys at Scout, they didn't come in on turn trucks. They know what to do. So I would think that if you don't want to bring another receiver along with him, that you bring a lineman that's done well, or one that can talk a little bit about the team and what they're trying to do to be better offensive lineman or defensive lineman, I think it would be helpful to them. So I mean,
some of these kids don't want. I mean, they may have offered. And they said, "Coach, I got something going on. Or I'm not comfortable in front of the media. I don't want to do that." I think he's a really good kid. The interviews I've seen, he's always smiling, and he seems like a nice young man. I just think as a freshman, I wouldn't bring him personally. I just think it's too much.
I agree. I agree with that. I sure do. I agree with you.
Now, Chase, you're young. Are you looking at me like, you old fogey? That's who they want to hear from. This guy's the best receiver and on the team. He's got a chance to be an All-American. He's on the Biletnikoff. That's who they want to hear from. They don't want to hear from somebody else. Is that what you're thinking? Or you agree with me? Just be honest. I am old, and you're young, so you guys think differently than we do.
I think the timing of it is really bad right now. I think having a freshman be the face of UA right now with all the mess that's going on, maybe if you would have had like LT Overton or, Malachi Moore without his situation, someone that has experience within the program, yes, I'd lean on them. But to have Ryan, especially with the game he had against Tennessee, I think this is a bad look. He's a great kid, don't get me wrong. I watch his podcast, but the pressure is getting tighter and tighter by the week.
Yeah.
And this is going to backfire on him if he doesn't perform against Mizzou this week. Yeah. So I agree with y'all. And you're not old. Stop saying that.
Oh, I am old. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline, get Cowboy in. Good morning, Cowboy.
Good morning.
Well, I just joined you. Hey, Coach. What's the Ryan Williams deal you guys?
It's nothing.
About?
It's me stirring the pot, probably. They're having Hey Coach tonight. Coach, they always bring a player, and they're bringing Ryan Williams. I was just asking Deb, do you think it's okay to bring a freshman over there? Would you bring somebody who's maybe been through the program a little bit more experience?
Well, Barry and Coach, they're trying to get people to stuff money in his pockets so Texas and some of these other places won't get him away next year. That's what they're trying to do. Give him those handshakes when he comes in there tonight.
Nah, that ain't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna happen.
But they are.
Well, Alabama better back up the truck. But see how much money they got.
But all right,
their pockets aren't as deep as Texas and Texas.
All right, so let's say that's true. That his family says, look, he came in there, you got him on a bargain. This year. This kid's one of the best receivers in college football, and this is what the market shows that he deserves. And say it's triple what he's making now. At what point do you just say, man, I mean, now they're going to hold you up hostage there, so you got to have stuff. Would you do it, Cowboy? Give them whatever they want, or is there a certain number that we have to stop at just to keep the locker room intact?
I would think there's a certain number you got to put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, what was that play they ran Saturday? Was that the Coach Wimp Sanderson play where the quarterback does a sneak and the two wide receivers over there shooting hoops? Was that your play?
I don't know what happened on the jump up like they were shooting. I have no idea. But Barry indicated that when Coach was asked about that at his press conference that he didn't quite understand the question or didn't give a great answer. I don't know. That goes back to a little bit. Are you ready to play? For me, in my mind, are you ready to play? Cowboy, I want you to remember this. You know that Georgia's pretty darn good, not because they were ready to play against Texas, but because when they got themselves in a real hole against Alabama, they came back and had a chance to win. That's the kind of team that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, Georgia's playing at an elite level since the first quarter against Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, it's but they're taking
except for one play.
They're taking on their coach's mentality, right?
Yeah.
Cowboy.
Right. And I like that coach's mentality. I like Kirby Smart's mentality.
Yeah.
That's what's always wanted at Alabama. And Coach Sanderson's seen every coach that's wanted Alabama. And that's the kind of mentality that's wanted Alabama. You think Gene Stallings would have put up with some of the stuff that we've seen out here this year? No, sir. No, sir. Coach Bryant wouldn't have put up with it. Coach Saban wouldn't have put up with it.
Right.
I think
Bill Curry didn't put up with it.
I think Dabo has that mentality. Their schedule's been weak as water, but they've come ready to play every game since that Georgia game, and they have steamrolled these teams.
Hey, Barry, all Dabo's doing is beating what's in front of him. That's all he's supposed to do.
That's right.
That's his schedule. They're getting better. That game against Pittsburgh will be pretty good. I may go try to see SMU Pittsburgh next Saturday out here, a week from this Saturday. At Eli Holstein, I might go over and try to watch that ball game.
You're smart, Cowboy. I heard somebody ask this question. Can Army and Navy take transfers?
Well, if they want to do that military life, I don't think Ryan Williams wants to do the military life.
No, I'm not talking about Ryan Williams going to Auburn and Army.
Well, I'm just saying, for example.
But once you go in there, don't you have certain things you have to do as fresh? I don't know, Army, Navy.
Yeah, I don't think you can transfer in. You got to be appointed by a congressman, and also if you're going to leave Army and go play somewhere else, you got to do it after your sophomore year. Remember that linebacker at Ohio State in the mid-2000s that transferred from Air Force. He played out here at Highland Park High School, Slagle.
Does it send any message to y'all that with a disarray of college football, people leaving the revolving door in and out, that two disciplined programs that probably aren't doing that, I don't know for sure, are undefeated?
I'll say this to you, Cowboy. You won't find anybody from Navy transferring to Auburn or to Army. Or anybody from Army transferring to Navy.
No.
But I'm saying is it shows you right there two disciplined programs that are both undefeated, where these other teams are so up and down. Come on, Army and Navy should not be undefeated in football, but they are.
Yeah. Well, they got.
It's a great story. They should have one of their players at head coach tonight.
Yeah. Well, I think our Navy story ends this Saturday. Notre Dame's a better football team than Navy, but, Navy might be.
Well, they should be, Cowboy. Come on.
Oh, yeah. So, besides Alabama basketball and Auburn basketball, is Arkansas and Kentucky probably fighting for the 2-3 spot, or is Tennessee 3 and Kentucky, Arkansas 4 and 5?
I think Kentucky's going to be below that spot.
Then you got Florida.
I think Florida's that guy's done a good job at Florida. I made fun of him when he got there.
I think, to answer your question, I think Kentucky will be below the spot you're talking about. I think if Arkansas gets their people well, and that they'll be in contention. Nobody's going to be greatly in contention with Alabama, I don't think. Tennessee is going to be a little bit better, as we talked about a little bit the other day.
Yeah,
a little bit better than people think. But I would say if I had to just guess, and I think Auburn is not going to be quite as good. They're certainly going to be big because they're good enough to win all their games at home. They opened at Duke. Be interesting to see what they do there.
Buzz Williams is high on his team, and he's talking about that he said that this week that he thinks they do a good job of selecting the right kids because they don't have a lot of turnover. They find the right kids that want to be coached, disciplined, and I think he's pretty high on his team this year.
They're pretty highly ranked. The Texas coach, I guess this might be his last year. We'll see what happens there. But, Coach and Barry, we talked over the summer. I asked you guys this. I heard an NBA scout on an NBA show out here on, I guess, ESPN radio somewhere, said that the longer a guy stays in college, the less value he has for the NBA. And this came up because we're talking about Jeff Shepard's son going to the NBA. So, these Alabama guys that have come back for the 5th and 6th year, or whatever it is, that they can make more money at Alabama NIL-wise than they can in the NBA on a 2-way contract in the G League or NBA sitting on the end of the bench, kind of like J.P. Davidson is for the Celtics. But, just kind of expound on that. I don't know if everybody knows that, but that's kind of the thinking of the NBA, isn't it?
Yeah, when they draft, a number of times you see a lot of high school kids that you never, G League kids that didn't even go to college, went to the G League 1 year, and then freshmen. By the time you get to, there's not many Herb Joneses anymore. Of course, they missed on him. I think he was what, second round, and ended up now he's making $12 million a year, now. So yeah, they try to get them young and develop them and the longer you stay.
Did y'all see LeBron and Bronny playing together last night?
That's a joke. That's a gimmick. I don't mind father and son playing if the son is good enough to be in the league. He's not. And so when you do that.
Coach, you wouldn't have thrown Barry the ball, wouldn't you?
But you can't compare that to the Griffeys playing. Those were two legitimate Major League Baseball players. This is not legitimate, in my opinion, Cowboy.
Yeah, it was kind of a clown act, I thought.
Yeah.
Bronny went up there one time, and Gobert just stuffed him, and Bronny looked like, oh Lord, I'm not in my league.
Well, they put him in for 2 minutes, and so you wake up this morning, you see all these things on your phone about them playing together. That's all about LeBron's ego.
Oh, yeah. They put him in before the 10 o'clock news came on out here, so I had it over there.
There you go.
You guys
Cowboy, if I'm playing with my son, he didn't guard anybody, I'd take him out.
Yeah. Well,
I know you
would. All right, Cowboy. Look who's calling. Thank you, Cowboy. I was just about to get on this guy.
Who?
Digger. His little Texas got smacked around, and he went in a hole for about 3 days.
Digger did?
Have you heard from Digger this week?
No.
Let's get to the Yellowwood hotline. What's up, Digger?
I'm busy, that's why.
Oh, Digger, you got smacked around by Georgia, and then you didn't want to call.
Of course we did.
What do you have, course?
Well, I don't know where y'all thinking Kirby has the right attitude about it. He was being a sanctimonious jackass. This is how we do things at Georgia. So really, you got 12 players arrested. You got one beating a pregnant woman. What is this? Come on, you can't be proud of that.
I'm talking about his mentality.
This is how we do it.
His mentality. They didn't come in there to take pictures. They came in there to eat, Digger.
Oh, please. Come on. We want another shot at him. Want another shot. Granted, they got this one. Come on, I'm going to admit, it's defeat. They handed it to us. But you can't admit that offense was much better. The Georgia offense was not that impressive. Okay, that quarterback threw 3 picks. We should have been able to capitalize on that.
Well, the other team's got a defense too, Digger. They have a right to defend. So I don't think you ought to brag on Texas defense. Although he hasn't played really great. And they still won. He hasn't had the time to hear that. You're right.
And we got to do something about Ewers. He's not stepping up. He doesn't want to step up. He's favoring that stomach again. It's like, golly. I think we would have been better off with Arch in there. And I'm telling you, it's time to just give him some time. Okay? I'm creating this quarterback controversy. I want him in there to throw the deep one. Because did you see the 2 passes that he completed? They were both underthrown. The receivers had to run 5 yards in to get the ball. Ewers cannot throw the deep pass. And guess what? And this goes for Milrose, too. The book is out on both of them now.
Arch was not ready for that, Digger. I'm sorry.
Oh, I think, he didn't have all the playbook. But I'm telling you, he would have been better off. But guess what prompted this call? Cowboy running his mouth about being a basketball coach. Rodney Terry, we're thrilled to have him. And don't underestimate the horns when it comes to basketball. We got a couple of key guards that nobody's going to be able to stop. I want to see how far they go. So, yeah. I mean, remember this now. Arkansas was running their mouth. We got the most talented team, and look what happened. It collapsed. It fell in their face at that.
Boy, it did collapse. You're right there. Ooh.
You You have got to be able to play together. Are you sure Alabama's going to be able to do that? Can everybody get enough continuity to do it?
Nate Oates is thinking right, though. I saw yesterday or last couple of days, he said that we're going to have to look at redshirting a couple of these guys because there's just no way to get them enough time to justify using the season. So now if he redshirts a few, then that takes their playing off the table. So that would be much easier to manage that locker. Now, it may be hard to guys. He's telling he's got a redshirt.
That may not be easy to do, the redshirt.
Yeah, but you got to do it. And those guys will be mad now, but they'll be happy because they'll be mad during the season when they're just sitting over there on the bench and not playing. So
one more thing.
As long as they're getting their money.
Yeah, they'll get their money.
I'm glad you brought that up. One more thing. What is it that you know about Ryan Williams? Who's circling around him and offering more money? This is the third time you brought this up.
Well, I mean,
you're worried sick that he's going to leave.
I'm not worried sick at all about he might leave. I have no dog in the fight, but do you give one guy that much if he comes in not demanding, but saying this is what I need to get? Because there's going to be people behind the scenes that'll give it to him. I just don't like that in college football. I don't like it. So
I'm telling you, you get a player like him or Arch Manning, a really high profile player, it pays off dividends. I don't care what anybody says. You've got to admit he's bringing in more than what he was paid, aren't you? Can you say that?
Yeah, I think the kid's great. I'm not knocking the kid. Get whatever you can get. I just don't know it. But I don't think you guys understand what it does to the locker room. When you're throwing the ball to him, when you're throwing the ball to him 20 times, and those other guys aren't getting it at all, they want to be pros too, Digger.
True. And guess whose job that is? Your coach.
That's right.
Because I'm telling you, everybody wants to come play for Sarkisian. And there is no problems with Arch being there. So, yeah. I'll let you go.
Thank you, dear. All right, we'll take the break here. Open the phone lines back up 205-342-9904. Listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Moving with a purpose on these freeways and side streets. A little volume here and there. 43 on the southbound lanes to McFarland. You've got some brake lights, but not heavy. McFarland eastbound onto Lurleen Wallace. Same situation. Rush to work starting to volumize.
Did you say I just said that? Yeah, I'm cutting you off. Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/credit.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Alabama's long dry spell continues today. The sky sunny, the high 82. Clear tonight with the low at 56. Very warm tomorrow and Friday. A good supply of sunshine both days. Highs between 83 and 86 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 52 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion, Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. All right, tomorrow, we hadn't talked a ton about the games this week, but you will pick your Blue Plate special. We've run the record. You run the record to 4-4. Our Blue Plate's brought to you by Chuck Norwood and the Chuck Norwood RE/MAX Realty team down in Gulf Shores. You're buying or selling, Chuck is your guy down there. Over 33 years experience, and that counts for obviously a lot. 251-948-1212. Go to the website, chucknorwood.com. What are some of the games that kind of are intriguing to you this weekend?
Well, I can't find one that I really feel real comfortable with. Kentucky-Auburn I've looked at a little bit of that, but the line is such that it's a little bit confusing to me. I did look at which one was it? I was trying to think of one that I thought was Notre Dame and Navy is Navy getting 12.5, and you know the way they've been winning, you would think that Navy could play with anybody, but I can't get a real feel for that game. To get 12.5 points against a Notre Dame team who's fallen on its face is a little bit confusing to me. So I looked at that some. Arkansas and Mississippi State is an interesting game. Mississippi State will score on you. I don't care where they go. That's the reason I kept saying that those 35-point deals that Mississippi State's getting, they're going to win to that. They get 6.5 points against Arkansas. To me, they're going to score against Arkansas. Now, I know Arkansas is going to score too, but and Mississippi State's quarterback may not be where he's able to play. I haven't been able to find that out yet. But that one was pretty intriguing to me, to get 6.5 at home against an Arkansas team that's, a little bit questionable is I thought, pretty interesting.
It's hard to know. I know a lot of people around here keep thinking Alabama's going to bust out, and they keep betting Alabama, and they keep losing. The line for that game this weekend is 14. You just don't know. Who's going to show up. You keep thinking they're going to play better. They got a lot of injuries in the defensive back field there, so they're down, I think, in one position through the third string guy there. So Alabama's a team, I would stay away from their games. One of the interesting games to me, and this will tell you that Central Florida's probably going to win. Yeah. BYU 7-0, 4-0, Central Florida sitting there 1-3 in the Big 12, and the line's 1.5. I think that's a trap line.
I looked at that. I studied that thing. In fact, I went to both teams last night. It's funny you would say that. And looked at that thing real hard, and after I looked at it really hard, I wasn't real sure about it.
It's a trap.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I thought Texas and Vanderbilt, although I know we have some listeners who say that Vanderbilt will cover the 19. Texas will come in, and they're going to throw that football pretty well. And that 19 is a lot of points, of course, to give anybody, but I thought that was an interesting thing. As far as State Miami, you can't deal with that very much. And, the LSU Texas A&M game, Barry, is I don't know how to pick game. I'm not sure how to pick you. That's the kind of game that is for me. At 2.5, every time I went early when I was getting my brains beat out, I was involved with A&M. I never got anything plus. It never did any good with them. LSU, I think, is getting 2.5 in that game.
Yeah, they are 2.5.
And I can't decide how good LSU is, and a little bit, Auburn and Kentucky sort of like that. That's the 2.5 point game. What I can see against the Kentucky is giving Auburn. So they're really hard to, these people that pick three to try to win all three, they have their hands full.
Interesting line, and I guess I remember back to the very first game of the year, they just didn't play well, but SMU's quietly put together a really good season, but Duke's getting 11.5 points at home against SMU, and Duke is currently 6-1. SMU 6-1 as well. All right, to the Yellowwood Hotline, bring Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning.
Hey, y'all. I'm just now being able to tune in to you, but I love what you talk about. I love talking about these schedules and games, and I just love it. Syracuse is at Pitt. That's an interesting game. Pitt's got the former Alabama quarterback Eli Holstein. They've been slowed up a little bit lately, but they are still undefeated at number 19. I would love to see Illinois go to Oregon and do something. I don't think they will. Every time I think Illinois is going to get up off the mat, they get beat bad. But they are still just got one loss, and I love what Duke's doing. Indiana, Washington is going there this weekend. I think Indiana takes care of business.
His quarterback is out. Now the backup guy did play most of the second half, and man, they absolutely steamrolled Nebraska. Wow.
I just love to see their stadium full now, those people exciting. I really feel happy for them. But the Notre Dame Navy game, in my heart, I want to pick Navy. But, Rip, have you ever, their home, their campus is in Annapolis, Maryland. What are their home facilities like, Rip? Have you ever visited there?
Where is that now? I'm sorry.
Navy.
I have not. I have not been to the Navy. I just think it's confusing to me, Philip, for them to get 12.5 against anybody because they're so regimented. And they run their stuff so good. They run their stuff so well, and they go keep the football as long as they can.
Oh, yes, sir.
And I just didn't. I'm thinking to myself, am I wrong about this? 12.5? I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I know it. I'll tell you, and the same with Army. You talk about a beautiful, beautiful place. It's on the banks of the Hudson River, up in the mountains. It's a beautiful facility, a beautiful campus. I've never been there, but I've talked to people that have. It's absolutely gorgeous. And but they're going to play Notre Dame at Yankee Stadium.
Okay. I want you to do a little research for me. You like to research things. Find out.
I really do. I love it.
Find out if Army and Navy take transfers.
He better be ready to be an officer in the military.
But I'm saying, could they take a guy that's been in college 2 years? I would think not. And the reason I ask you that is because, you got all these programs, all this disarray. Here is two disciplined programs that they don't have turnover, and they're both undefeated. I love it. I love it. Man, I would give anything for them to beat Notre Dame this weekend.
Me too. Hey, Barry, I'd like to say one thing if I could. And I mentioned this on Martin a minute ago. But, as far as the Alabama players and coaches and all that talking and everything, it's kind of interesting sometimes. But Alabama has one athlete on their campus that I would trust with a microphone right now. And he doesn't play football. But have you ever heard Latrell Wrightsell get interviewed?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember, though.
He is extremely gifted. And he's the only guy that I'd let have a microphone. And he would be a good guy to teach the other guys on what to say.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said earlier about Ryan Williams going to Hey Coach? I don't like it, Philip.
No, I just tuned into y'all's show. I had to do something, and I just tuned in. What's going on?
He's just going to be the guest with, and I love the kid. I think he's a great kid. I think he does a good job in front of the media. As a freshman, to take him over to Hey Coach, I'd rather take an older guy that's been around the program. Maybe not playing as much or whatever, but has a great story, and maybe highlight somebody else. This kid, I think, has gotten enough attention, so I would wish they would take somebody else. I was wanting to know, do I sound old school?
No, I understand what you're saying, but I also understand this. You've heard the phrase, the gift that keeps on giving. He's the glue that's going to keep things together, they hope.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Philip.
Thanks, Philip.
All right, we'll take this break. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Moving with a purpose on these freeways and side streets. A little volume here and there. 43 on the southbound lanes to McFarland. You've got some brake lights, but not heavy. McFarland eastbound onto Lurleen Wallace. Same situation. Rush to work starting to volumize just a bit. And then we're moving nicely on Skyland Boulevard. Taking a look at that between 2059 and 359. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Is the place to be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles,
Here's Eddie Garcia.
Some breaking news from the NFL this morning where the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs are finalizing a trade to acquire veteran wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins from the Tennessee Titans for a conditional 4th-round pick. Hopkins was a 3-time first-team All-Pro from 2017 through 2019. With the Houston Texans, he's had over 100 receptions in a season 4 different times. NBA 2-season opening games. Celtics cruised to a 132-109 win over the Knicks. The defending champs hit an NBA record tying 29 3-pointers in the win. Jason Tatum led him with 37 points and 10 assists. Lakers over the Timberwolves 110-103. Anthony Davis led LA with 35 points and 16 rebounds. LeBron James added 16 points and his son Bronny James, no points in 3 minutes, but they become the first father-son duo to ever play in an NBA game together.
Is free. Call 800-290-1569. That's 800-290-1569. Again, 800-290-1569.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good. Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Andrew Kniffer, my Allstate insurance agent. He can be yours out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Give Andrew and his staff a call, 205-722-9201, whether it be home, life, auto, whatever you need there. These guys will take great care of you. Once again, 205-722-9201. Normally we have Justin on from Tuscaloosa Toyota. Justin's a little bit under the weather today, but Tuscaloosa Toyota, absolute best. Justin always tells us about how many cars they've sold during the month. Is always a ton. So these guys do it right. That's why they have so many repeat customers. We've been back over there and bought several cars. I know Dad's gotten one from those guys. So swing by Skyland Boulevard, the Toyota RAVs, the Camrys, the Tundras, the Highlanders. Just great deals on great cars. You also can go to the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com. You can look at all the inventory there on the lot. They got a great pre-owned inventory as well. You can schedule a service. If you want to rent a Toyota, you can do it right there at the website. So go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. Remember, just a few more days, buy 3 tires and get one for $1. You can do it all right there at Tuscaloosa Toyota. All right, get to the Tuscaloosa Toyota hotline and get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom. Good morning. Good morning, Coach. How are y'all?
We're good. How are you, Tom?
I'm good. I got a little insight on the transfer question to the service academies, I think, if you want to know it.
I do.
The thing about it is, here's what I know. And it's the young man that lived here in Aliceville was a good student. And then his mother decided that he needed to up his math qualification a little bit. He got the appointment to the service academy. And then she decided to bolster his math skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he goes to the university for a year. And then after that year, he exercises his right, or not right, but privilege, to go to the West Point. And they accepted that.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's the equivalent of a transfer or preparatory school or whatever it is, but I know that happened. I was firsthand on that.
Okay. I didn't know if you went in there, like if you had to be in there so many years. I know you have service after you're done. How, will classes transfer in there? Obviously, we know if they're going there, they're a good student, don't we, Tom?
Yeah. You gotta have your stuff together, and I don't know how his parents did that, but don't the appointments come from your senator's office? Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, I got a guy actually lives across the street from me, went to Navy. I'll talk to him, and he can answer all these questions.
Yeah. For me, but I thought about that when you were saying that, and I said, I'm going to call and throw that out there.
But I do like the fact that they're disciplined places and they're undefeated in college football. So it shows you that discipline does work, doesn't it, Tom?
Well, yeah, it does. And but here's the thing about it. A kick out of this. Him and Coach Mick, they were down there and they had a bunch of roughhousers and they was having trouble with this, that, and the other players. And so somebody asked Coach Bowden about the discipline problem that he was having out of his players down there and how much discipline played into a successful program, this, that, and the other. He said, well, if discipline was the only qualification to be in a good football team, the service academies win the national championship every year.
No, that's true. Well, they're not. But I'm saying, somebody just said they looked it up. Can players transfer service academies? It says no. Service academies do not technically accept transfer students. Students admitted to a service academy will start as freshmen and complete a full 4-year program regardless of how many college credits they've earned. It goes on. But I don't know. We got to do a little more digging into it. So is what you're saying.
Well, I know that for that situation here locally, I know that for a fact that happened because I know the scholarship that he used to go to Alabama that 1 year. And
I think you can do it.
That may not be a transfer. That may be like going to, finish high school, going to a prep school or something.
Yeah, I think they can do it, but it sounds like he says they would need to start over from scratch. So maybe he had to take the class in order to get in.
You're right about that now. When he rolled in there, he started as a freshman. That's right. That year didn't mean crap to the service academy.
Yeah, so there you go.
Well, that's not like a transfer. Yeah,
no, you had to do it to get accepted. You had to, sometimes people have to raise their test score in order to get into a certain place.
Well, I think he was qualified. His mother said, "You know what? We better get in this trigonometry and get you some more of that."
Yeah. So, what else you got, Tom?
That's it. I've enjoyed the show this morning, and y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship, but I do think I don't know, Army and Navy undefeated. You wouldn't think they'd be undefeated. So I think it's a good story, right? If they beat Notre Dame, it's going to get to be a great story this weekend. So give them any chance to cover. I mean, not cover, but win. Navy, the game's at home, so it gives them a chance.
Yeah, I think they played well, and that trying to figure out this blue plate with getting 12.5 points is almost wants you to take them.
Yeah, some of the things are traps there, but I don't think Pittsburgh's getting. Somebody, they're not getting the national, being 19 at 6-0, so they're 6-point favorite over Syracuse. They run the table. You're going to have to put them in the college football playoffs. So teams like Alabama, they need Pittsburgh and these people to go ahead and lose and get out of the way. Of course, Alabama is going to boil down. They can take care of business against Missouri. Then it's going to boil down to that LSU game. And then they'll need some help there to get this. Alabama right now, this current team, if I were on the committee, there's no way I would put them in the top 12. You? Currently what you've seen so far. So it's going to have to.
No, I don't think so. I think, I don't want to say this because I'm thinking they're going to win big, but I think I didn't particularly agree that you need to change quarterbacks in the last game. But I think the little way he's beat up a little bit and things that are going, if you get in a position where you're up 2 scores, 10-0, 2 scores, that you give Milroe a breather for at least a series.
I would go the other way. If you get up 2 scores and he's playing well, I would roll with him. If he comes out and he starts struggling again and struggles that first half, then I think you got to insert the other guy and just see if he can spark you, see what he can do. If Milroe starts playing well, I would think you'd want to leave him in there to build some confidence if you think he's a guy. But if he comes out,
I just mean he gets by. He's not playing bad or he's not playing good or bad. He's just playing, and they're up 2 scores. And you can't really tell whether he's injured or not injured. I just think that'd be a time to take a look.
Yeah. All right. We'll take the break here. We'll get to Bill. You think you got problems at Alabama? Try being down at Auburn, Chase. Oh, my goodness. We'll see what's going on down there with my man Bill Cameron. This is Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Looking good on the Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets, even inside the construction zones. You just want to be careful when you travel inside of those. McFarland east and westbound, always something going on between Jack Warner and Lurleen Wallace. You do have, again, long-term construction, but no delay.
Coverage begins at 11:30 on your home for Alabama football. Presented in part by BMW of Tuscaloosa and by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. A true Southern flavor since 1947, and Conecuh is the official smoked sausage of the Crimson Tide. Order online at ConecuhSausage.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On yesterday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we were joined by the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart.
Got a ranked team in Missouri. Granted, they've dropped a couple that weren't expecting to and have slid, outside the top 20, but they're still in the top 25. So there's an opportunity to get fixed against somebody who's definitely credible. You're going to Baton Rouge. You're going to Norman, Oklahoma. And I know what happened last weekend or this past weekend, but it's still OU. And it's a game that by the time you play it, it's going to be Alabama to Oklahoma. And that, to anybody that knows any history of college football at all, is going to have a special sound and it'll have a lot of eyeballs on it, regardless of what the records are when we go into that game.
I'll have more in a moment.
Favorite jeans, favorite shirt. Got Conecuh sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows how I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor up and down the road. It's a little taste of heaven, and everybody knows. That's how I get my grill on. Conecuh sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
Join us tonight for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show, live from Baumhower's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, starting at 6 p.m. Central. You can listen on our full radio network, the Varsity Network app, as well as watch the video stream on all Alabama Athletics social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. He's with ESPN 106.7, The Drive, down in Auburn, Opelika. I'm sure they've had a lot of people wanting to vent the last couple of weeks. He joins us every Wednesday, Bill Cameron. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Doing pretty good, guys.
Tell us how the show's going on right now. What are the Auburn people saying about this football team?
Just more than frustrated, just sort of beside themselves, wondering, what's gonna get Auburn out of this rut? What's gonna change? Is there anybody else they can go to as far as players are concerned? Because Auburn just seems to find different ways to not be able to win. It feels like every week.
Yeah, they have a great recruiting class coming in, and so you got to get those guys signed. So you do have hope, but they got to hold on to those guys. So hopefully they can do that. And if you were to lose those guys, that would really be bad. What is the story with that right now? Does everything seem to be okay with holding on to the recruiting class?
Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody's wondering day by day. I thought it was a good sign when Deuce Knight, the quarterback that Auburn had flipped from Notre Dame, came out following the game over the weekend and pretty much just said, "Hey, things are going to change. Be patient." The young players, still seeing the young players that are on the team. That's probably as big a concern. Is recruiting your own roster. That's one of the things that Hugh mentioned at his press conference on Monday. But I mean, thus far, they seem to be all together as well. At least the ones we've got the chance to talk to or hear from. So, yeah, I mean that's the concern right now is when you're on a slide like this, trying to keep things together because the guys that are on the team, especially the young players that are on the team, have an awful lot to do with the players that are committed and are coming in. Those are the guys that are their peers, or the guys they look up to. I'm talking about the recruits there. So this is a critical time, and they're working really hard to do this. But boy, I've said this for the last month now. I mean, they just need a win, and they're capable of doing it. They've been close enough, but they just can't seem to get it. So yeah, that's the big concern, is holding things together. Thus far, it is. I just, nobody knows if you're going to be able to continue to hold on to it if you don't pick up a win somewhere along the way.
Yeah,
somewhere along the line, he said he felt like that they, instead of trying to win, they were trying to keep from losing.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's you said that, and you don't hear many coaches. Again, he says some things at times that you go, wow, that's what we were thinking, but you don't usually hear that when he said that the coaches, are coaching at times not to lose, and talking about trying to figure the perfect play every time and second guessing yourself. He talked about wanting to, when Auburn got the ball back up 17-13 at the 37-yard line of Missouri, wanting to take a shot, but then thinking to himself, well, if we take a shot and we don't get the protection and are sacked at 2nd and long, if we don't complete the pass at 2nd and long, so just take the safe way out and give the ball to Jarquez Hunter. And, of course, what happened? An offensive lineman missed his assignment. Jarquez was hit right as he got the ball and lost 3 yards. So you're in 2nd and long anyway. But, no, those are the kinds of things that they're having to try to figure. It's hard not to think that way when things are going badly. But that's exactly what it's been looking like is they're playing extra careful. I mean, they've had 11-point leads, in the fourth quarter against both Oklahoma and Missouri, and have lost those. So I mean, it's a situation where it's really hard to get out of once you get into that rut.
Does there come a time, Bill, we're talking Bill Cameron, ESPN 106.7 The Drive, where Peyton Thorne's a senior? He's not coming back. You're 2-5. If you lose another game or two, do you need to, maybe invest some time in some younger guys there, Hank Brown, those guys, and invest in the future there? You're going to keep giving reps to a guy who's not going to be back. Has that been discussed at all? Maybe you're not to that point yet because you still want to salvage the season, but once you lose, I guess, 7 games, if it gets to that point, you're not even bowl eligible anymore. Is there any thought to maybe trying to invest in the future?
Well, there sure are from the fans. There's no question about that. I mean, I think it's a lot easier as a fan or an observer or the media to say, yeah, just go ahead and chunk that, and let's go ahead and see what the players that have some future eligibility can do. And they've done that with a lot of positions. Auburn's played leading the nation in freshman minutes by defensive players. They're leading the SEC in freshman minutes by offensive players, but they haven't done that at quarterback. The thing is, until you get there, it's really hard for a coach who feels like well, the best way to put it, I did the other day, is I don't know a coach who doesn't want to win every time they go out there, and if you feel like you're not putting the players out there that give you the best chance, or the quarterback that gives you the best chance to win, it's really hard to make that change. So I'm sure there's been some discussion of that. I don't know if they're quite there yet. I actually think Peyton's played pretty well since he came in in the second half of that Arkansas ball game. Made a throw the other day that should have been the sort of the topping on the cake and wrapped the ball game up and made it a 24-6 game. You couldn't ask any quarterback to make a better throw than he did there. But sure, it's got to be something that they're discussing just to see what they have, perhaps, I guess, behind him.
Yeah, that missed field goal, man, that was critical. It just, you could see that just took the wind out of your. So when they missed that, I'm like, they're gonna lose. And then for a guy to go to the hospital, and then to come back and do what he did, I don't know what they did to his ankle, but I need them to do that to my ankle, Bill. That guy came back and he was running better than he was before he got injured.
Yeah, that was the amazing thing when Brady Cook came back, and then twice he beat Auburn around the corner and picked up huge first downs with his legs. So, it was one where everybody that covers Auburn or has anything to do with Auburn, and you knew the players felt it too. I wasn't there in Como. A good friend of ours, Jason Caldwell, who's on the show, as a matter of fact, this afternoon, was there on the sideline, and he said you could see the shoulders when on that series after the first down pass was dropped, and then the field goal. I mean, a chip shot field goal was missed by Towns Magoo. You could just see the shoulders on the players. The players had been really up, and he said, as a matter of fact, there was some. It was really lively on the sideline when Auburn was up, double digits there in the third quarter. But they had that feeling, and that's the toughest thing right now is you can't avoid thinking that as a fan, and it's got to be in the players' minds too. When something goes bad in the second half, they can't help but feel, oh crap, here we go again.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, he wore a plaid sport coat to media day for basketball. He said it was in my honor, and I meant to say to him, well, congratulations for getting Duke in the first round of the SEC tournament. I thought that was I meant to gig him about that, but I didn't get to.
Yeah. Congratulations on that schedule. That's right. Hey, it's his. Most of it's his fault. So, he doesn't mind right now having that schedule. I mean, the closer we get to it, it'll be really interesting to see. But yeah, they've got to figure a way to win a couple of these. I guess 4 or 5 matchups that look like they could be against teams that are top 10 or so.
It is good that the SEC decided to, put the Auburn-Alabama games on Saturday. I think that'll make for a really, really tough ticket, and it's pretty ironic that you got Auburn and Alabama basketball right now outshining the football programs. When was the last time you saw that, Bill, with both of them doing it?
Barry, never. With both teams, no. This is a first. It's got to be. I mean, it's the first time the teams have been preseason picked 1-2, and I mean, when both football teams lose, the week that basketball media day is coming out, and we're getting ready for exhibitions and having things like that. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It is upside down, isn't it?
Just your thoughts about. Now, Auburn's pretty much dominated Kentucky over the years, right? I mean, it's pretty been one-sided. Is this the week it turns around, Bill?
Man, I mean, both teams are struggling. What's crazy is Kentucky can't seem to win at home, and Auburn's sure hoping that keeps up. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be tough to come by points this one. I mean, Auburn's struggling to score points, period, in SEC play, even though they've moved the ball pretty well for the most point. But this Kentucky defense is going to be really tough for Auburn to get going against. And again, I mean, they've gotten off to a couple of decent starts and still haven't been able to hold on. But they can't afford to let Kentucky get out, have them make a big play. That's the other thing. Defensively, Auburn's played pretty well, but they seem to just give up a big play every game. There seems to be a big one. I mean, when Brady Cook came back, last week, that 78-yard pass that shouldn't have been. I mean, it was a play that Kentucky had run, and Auburn had covered pretty well. They popped that one for 78, so that's the kind of thing they can't afford to give up against the Wildcats this weekend. Yeah, I mean, it's a battle of a couple of teams that are really, really struggling. Kentucky 1-4 in conference play, and of course Auburn, they're tied with Mississippi State at the bottom of the league at 0-4. So I know it's not the game that everybody's going to be tuning to, but it ought to be a pretty interesting battle. This might be one of the last chances to see, if this team can try to, do something to get them over the hump. I said before Auburn went on the road that they needed to win at least one of these road games. It's their last chance. I mean, they come home with a 5-game losing streak. It'll be really interesting to see, because Vandy's going to come in feeling like they're going to win this ball game. I mean, I don't think Vandy's got that much of a chance against Texas this weekend, but they know they've got a shot against Auburn next weekend. So Auburn desperately needs this win, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because Kentucky's D is legit.
Dad, if they lose this weekend, when those kids go trick or treating next week, they're going to be putting tickets in their bag, Bill, instead of candy. They're going to be putting the tickets in the trick or treaters' bags to go to the.
Oh, let me tell you, just around town and here in the neighborhood, you can see some Halloween decorations that have changed and added some Auburn flavor here over the last week or so.
All right, Bill, Missouri is currently 6-1. Now, they got blown out the one game, and then they've won a lot of close games. Vanderbilt, that Auburn game, they pulled it out. They come to Tuscaloosa for homecoming this weekend. Alabama is struggling. What does the Alabama fan and all need to be worried about with Missouri coming here? Because you guys looked at them a lot closer than I think Alabama did last. It is right now. You guys have played them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, again, Brady Cook, I'll be really interested to see how well he's moving this week after the injury last week. Luther Burton and Theo Weiss are legit, and so that's something I know Alabama's got to be concerned with, because they've also been prone to giving up a big play or two there in the secondary. So, I mean, Missouri can do that. You're right, though. They haven't been overly impressive in their wins, but they've somehow been able to win. They're a team that is sort of the opposite of Auburn. If they're in a close ball game, they feel like they've got a really good shot of winning it. So that's the thing. You just want Missouri. You'd like to go ahead and get out and make it a comfortable homecoming. I think if you can get out on them, they were ready to be put away last week, and I think you can do that to them. But let them hang around. The longer you let them hang around, they've got a shot. Brady Cook is a seasoned veteran quarterback who's got a couple of big weapons there at receiver, like I said. But I mean, if Alabama just can play well and not make a play or two that just helps beat themselves, I think they can be right about there at the line. Maybe even cover that fairly easily. I think they can get out to a good start.
Yeah, Alabama's struggling as well. Dad, anything else for Bill before we let him get out?
No, I appreciate him being on very much, and we'll look forward to seeing how they continue to do. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, appreciate it. Have a great week.
Tell everybody where they can catch you, Bill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's The Drive every day on ESPN 106.7. At 4 to 6 each afternoon, we take your calls, and it's been pretty lively, as you might think. You can listen to us online at ESPNAU.com, or you can go to RadioAlabama.net. If you can't listen live, check out our podcast.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, guys. Bill. Have a great week.
There you go. All right. Alabama's basketball schedule. I was texting with the guy at Houston. They were supposed to play Notre Dame in Vegas on that Saturday. Now they're not playing Notre Dame now. They're somehow trying to turn it. I said, man, that thing is, what is it? He said, it's the biggest mess you've ever seen. I don't know. I asked him who was running that. He said whoever was over and won. So I don't know who Alabama's going to play on Saturday, but I saw something, and Chase, double check this, that the winner of that event. So they're going to crown a champion now. I think they had to crown a champion in order to get the money. I saw a figure they were going to get $9 million. Are you hearing that, Dad, that the winner gets $9 million for NIL money?
Ooh, boy, Alabama can't. They get every player they want.
Good night. Somebody let me know if they've heard that. All right, tell them about Bryant Bank before we get to break.
Bryant Bank, outstanding bank with the locations. I talk about it in Tuscaloosa all the time, as well as the many locations in Birmingham. That's where I trade, and I think that you'd be well pleased if you put your business account in there, or decide to put a business and personal account in there. Bryant Bank will be the place that you want to go to. So they'll be neighborly to you. They'll talk you through or help you in any way they possibly can. Your money is safe, which is a big deal right this day and time because people are losing money. I just think Bryant Bank is a great place to go. So go by there and tell them you heard Barry and I on Inside the Locker Room and that you want to be a member of Bryant Bank, and I think you'll be well pleased. Barry?
Yes.
I'm going to run.
All right. Go ahead. Do what you got to do. All right. See you. All right. We'll take this break up the phone line. He's out. He's got to take care of some business there. 205-342-9904. We'll look at this Players Era Festival in Vegas. It keeps changing. I don't understand what they're doing. I'm going to find out a little more. I'm talking to my guy in Houston today. This is Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Looking good on the Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets, even inside the construction zones. You just want to be careful when you travel inside of those. McFarland East and westbound, always something going on between Jack Warner and Lurleen Wallace. You do have, again, long-term construction, but no delays.
Of FIFA World Cup 2026, supporting possibilities turned into achievements on the biggest stage. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. member FDIC.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Alabama's long dry spell continues today. The sky sunny, the high 82. Clear tonight with the low at 56. Very warm tomorrow and Friday. A good supply of sunshine both days. Highs between 83 and 86 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 53 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide. The best sports talk, period. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, I have a better understanding. It is a total, the tournament in Vegas. It's called the Players Era. They've got 8 teams out there, Chase. All right. They put them in 2 different groups. You got the Impact Group, which is Houston, Alabama, Rutgers, and Notre Dame. The Power Group is San Diego State, Creighton, Oregon, and Texas A&M. All right. So on Tuesday, on TBS, November 26th, Houston, which is the 2 best teams out there, it makes no sense. Houston and Alabama will play. Rutgers and Notre Dame will play in the Impact Group. And then it's already determined Rutgers and Alabama will play the next day, and Notre Dame will take on Houston. In the other group, you got San Diego State taking on Creighton, Oregon taking on Texas A&M. Next day, Oregon takes on San Diego State, Texas A&M takes on Creighton. Based on how much you win by. And so, because here, like, Alabama and Rutgers could both, Alabama's not, they're playing Rutgers. Alabama and Notre Dame could both go 2-0, but just because you go 2-0 doesn't mean you're in the championship, because you're going to take one. They have like a tiebreaker system by how many points you win by. After 20, it caps off. Here's where the $9 million comes in. Every team, there's 8 teams out there, every team's getting $1 million. So that's $8 million. The winner, if you win it, so when they get to championship day, they will take the 2 highest seeds or whatever, and they'll play for the championship. That winner gets $500,000. So you're going to get 1 point. The runner-up gets $250,000, And then from there, I think it's 150 and whatever. It comes out to $9 million is what the payout is. So if Alabama goes out there and wins it, they're getting their travel expenses plus $1.5 million in NIL money. Now, how they divide that up, I don't know if you just say we're going to divide it up to 13 players. What's $1.5 million divided by 13 there? So this format, they were going to just play Notre Dame. You're going to go out there and just play 3 games. Well, now in order to play for the money, they had to make it a championship. So you don't know who you're going to play on Saturday, where it used to be. If you look at Alabama's schedule, it's got them playing Notre Dame on Saturday. That could happen, or it might not. In order to make the additional $500,000, you got to be in the championship out there. Now, how they determine the tiebreakers and all that, I'll have to go through and study that. But that's about as clear as mud. The seeding process, head-to-head record, total point differential of both teams played in the group with a cap of plus or minus 20 per game, total points scored, and total points allowed. This is a gimmick, right? I mean, seriously, how much is that at $1.5 million if they just divided that by all 13 players?
So around 15 was $100,000, so about like $80,000.
Yeah. So go to Vegas. Champion $1.5 million. Here it is. Second place $1.25. Third place $1.15, and fourth place $1.1. So you get $100,000 if you finish fourth. You're 5th through 8. Thanks for playing. You only get the $1 million. Poor thing. So you can go out there and lose all 3 games and still get $1 million divided. Now, like I said, I don't know if that's going back into the budget as part of the. I don't know how they're going to do that. And I guess that's up to each individual school. That's what college athletics has come to, guys. That's what we're doing. And they're talking about over a 3-year period, having tournaments at different places and giving out like $50 million in the next 2 years. So I would think everybody's going to want to be playing in these events when you can go and make them. I know. I asked the guy, I said, where's the money coming from? He said, I don't know. Does that smell to you, Chase, where they may get out there and hopefully they'll get their money, right? Would you want to get it up front? Hey, we need that meal before we need to get that meal before we come on out there.
This sounds really bad. They better be very careful with how they get this money, because this could go with some NCAA sanctions and some problems.
Well, I'm sure it's clear about it. The Player Era Festival is committed to providing $9 million in NIL money to college basketball players in 2024 for the engagement and activities separate and apart from the competition. So they're going to have to do autograph signings, probably clinics, and then more than $50 million in NIL over the next 3 years. For these NIL payments, players will perform service and activities fully compliant with current NCAA regulations, is what it says there on the website. So I don't know. It's silly because first of all, Houston and Alabama. Houston is preseason number 1 in some polls. So Houston and Alabama, 2 best teams out there. You would hope that they would be to where those guys won. They would play on Saturday, but I guess they wanted to guarantee this matchup there. Is anybody going out there to that? I wish I could go, but our team will be playing, so I won't be able to go out there. But they go out and they play on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the other games are not till Saturday. So you're going to take these college kids out there in Vegas for a week almost out there. What could possibly go wrong? Now, these guys are used to being out there with AAU and all. They have a bunch of AAU tournaments out there and stuff. But anybody got a comment on that? Dial us up 205-342-9904. I halfway cleared it up, but I don't even quite understand it, to be quite honest with you. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Oh, what a beautiful morning. We have gone pretty much, at least this part of the morning without incident. And now that doesn't mean it's not slow in a couple of areas. Of course, always the rush to work delays on McFarland, east and westbound lanes between Watermelon and Lurleen Wallace.
Fridays at the Free at Innisfree Irish Pub, 1925 University Boulevard, downtown. Come join Wyatt Fulton for lunch at Innisfree Irish Pub.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Alabama's long dry spell continues today. The sky sunny, the high 82. Clear tonight with the low at 56. Very warm tomorrow and Friday. A good supply of sunshine both days. Highs between 83 and 86 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 53 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Just to clear it up too, all those games are played at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, right there at MGM. So Alabama, in Houston will play on TBS, 7 o'clock on November 26th. That game against, Rutgers will be at, 9 p.m., here, which is obviously 7. But all those games are at the MGM Grand. And Saturday, the championship games at 8:30 if Alabama were to play in that. But these games are on TNT and True TV. All right, to the Yellowwood hotline, get Abe in. Good morning, Abe.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Good morning, Barry.
He's it's just me. Dad had to get off. He had to take care of
something. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I was going to tell Coach he knocked it out of the park on his blue plate. Didn't he pick Army over East Carolina big, right?
Well, he did. And luckily when he betted, it was 16. The line ended up going up to 17.5. So he won. Had he waited, he would not have won because they ended up winning by 17. So that 16 saved him there. So he's 4-4. Who was your pick last week, Abe?
I like Georgia, remember, to beat Texas. So I'm getting my game back on, and I'm studying some games. You know, an interesting game. You know, sometimes, like, I think Coach looked at it like, hey, I think the odds makers made a mistake on this Army game. And I don't really think that on this one, but what about Wisconsin plus 6.5 over Penn State? And Penn State sitting there at number 3, undefeated.
Say that again?
I'm not. Penn State plays at Wisconsin Saturday. I think it's a Saturday night game. And it's at Camp Randall, and Penn State is favored by 6.5 over Wisconsin. I wouldn't mind taking Wisconsin. You know, they got that backup quarterback. You know, their starting guy got knocked out against us. But that other guy, you know, he couldn't hit a broadside of a barn against us, but he's played some now.
Yeah.
And he's doing better. I wouldn't mind. I'm studying it, but I wouldn't mind looking at taking whiskey on that game. And the other game I'm starting to like is K-State minus 10 over Kansas. Kansas has looked sad, but it's kind of like Alabama and Auburn. You know, you can take throw the record book out of the building, out the window when they play. You know, a hated rival.
Yeah, Kansas currently 2-5, 1-3 in the Big 12. K-State 6-1, 3-1 in the Big 12. The game's at Bill Snyder Stadium there in Manhattan, Kansas. Kansas State is a 10-point favorite there. So you're saying take Kansas State. You think they'll?
Yeah, I think I would like that one, but I'll call you back Thursday. But I wanted to ask you before you go. I think tomorrow the Alabama baseball team is having a scrimmage.
Okay.
I've never been to one of those. It's at 3:15. Does that mean they'll have an announcer and the scoreboard and all that, or is it just like you watch him practice? Or
I don't know. If somebody knows, let us know. Normally on those, they have like, just so these pitchers don't throw too many pitches, they face like 3 outs or 5 batters and they change. But I'm not sure about that. I'll try to find out and let you know.
I'm going to take a pencil and a piece of paper. They said the only guys that from last year's team is the shortstop, Justin LeBron, and the first baseman, Will Hodo. Rest of them's pretty much a new team, so I don't know. We'll see what we got, though. It's free, I think, at 3:15 tomorrow.
There you go. Roger Myers could tell you. I don't know if you follow Roger, but if you do, then just look on his Twitter account. He'll have it all right there for you. And he goes to every practice, every scrimmage, and if you want to find out every inning what happens, he puts it out.
Okay, you said Roger, R-O-G-E-R, skip a space, M-E-Y-E-R.
Yeah, Roger Myers he's Mr. Alabama Baseball. That's my guy. So
appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Abe. All right, yeah, Roger spends a lot of time. He goes to every practice out there, I believe. So, and he goes to every baseball game, home and away. So he got seats right there behind home plate. So I got to know Coach Vaughn this summer pretty well. Great guy. Really, really down to earth. Just a super person and good baseball coach, and looking for great things out of Coach over there at Alabama. Hopefully the playing field will level a little bit. They probably have to get their NIL money up a little bit to match what LSU and Tennessee and Texas A&M and Texas now are doing, but he'll do a great job over there, and he's somebody that you want representing your university. I can tell you that for sure. All right, that's it for today's show. We're going to get out of here, Chase, and we'll make way. Is Gary coming in today? Make way for the Gary Harris Show.
No, he is sick today.
Is he?
Yeah, so he's going to stay in. I'm going to play yesterday's show.
There we go. So Gary's sick. Gary, get well, my man. All right, you listen to Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great day, everybody.